Hey, Degenerates. Had a chance to take a look at the podcast, and I gotta say, I'm disgusted. I mean, the intro was some shirtless farmer tan guy in half of the pictures. There's some kid warming the lake. There's two lady drafters. If you look back at the pictures again, Bobby was clearly running to the trailer for Megan's advice. Then Nathan, going directly for the rival. Worst draft by far, he said. How dare the 3 tight end drafter downtrodden my team? Who's gonna bail you out this year? I'm gonna put the bust and robust your face.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Ordinaree Fantasy Pod. I'm your host, Ben Conroy. With me is, as always, Nathan Boudreau and my brother, Matt Conroy. How's it going, guys?
Hello.
We are like, week 1 is here. Are you guys excited? Because I'm so excited.
Listen, it's a great day to be great. Matt, as you know.
You guys are so excited you're talking over each other. Let's go.
Matt actually sent a text before the podcast and said, "Hey, I don't always like talking first. Why don't you talk first every once in a while?" So I was trying to jump in, and I guess we get into our old routines. It's hard to break out of them. But no, I was saying, man, we just found out a couple hours ago that Bosa has signed with the Niners.
Woo!
The quarterback drama is over. The 49ers season is in full Super Bowl or bust mode now, and so I'm stoked.
Not that this is all about 49ers, considering although two of the hosts are both wearing 49ers hats.
I've got plenty of 49ers gear behind me.
Yeah, we are such homers, dude. We are such homers. God damn it. Anyways, dude, guys, I'm so glad to be here week 1. This is it, man. We've all been dying to get in here and talk football. My brother Matt's been beating down the door. He's been texting relentlessly. Let's talk football, guys. Let's talk football. Enough of this fantasy draft bullshit. Enough of this other stuff. Let's get into it. So, hey, we're here. We're going to talk about it. Thoughts on upcoming season right now. Matt, let's hear it. Your upcoming season thoughts.
Yeah, man, I'm super excited. If we're doing thoughts on our fantasy league, I'm excited for the 14-man league. I am excited that we got new blood. I'm excited just for the new rules that we instituted. No more collusive trades will happen this year because we instituted new rules. I'm just super excited that everybody gets to start over and we can drop the old bullshit that we did all last year and move on with the new stuff. Let's make it a great season, gentlemen.
Outside of the fantasy league, talk to us about the NFL season. What are you excited about in this upcoming NFL season? What's getting you pumped? What's getting you excited to talk?
Yeah, young quarterbacks and young running backs. Actually, there's a lot of guys like Tajay Spears, who I think is going to cut in some Derrick Henry stuff later in the season. Some Tank Bigsby, who's going to cut in to some ATN stuff. Charbonnet, I know Nate disagrees with me. Charbonnet, I think, will take over the backfield in Seattle by the end of the year. I think he's just a better runner. So I'm really excited to have these young players and so many young quarterbacks in the league right now too. So I'm just excited for the new blood.
Yeah. No, I'm so am I. I think that's a great analysis. There's a lot of guys that are I'm excited about, like the new quarterbacks, like you said, in Howell. I'm excited to see how he plays out. The running back situation. I know this is where Nathan's supposed to be talking, but I got excited. Sorry. The running back situation is on some of these teams is so interesting. Like obviously the guy in Atlanta. I'm blanking. Bijan. I was blanking on his name, man. I'm excited to see him. He's like so exciting. Anyways,
did you hear we're pronouncing his name wrong?
Is it Bijan?
Yeah, apparently his mother named him Bijan, and when he introduces himself as Bijan, she always corrects him and says, "Why do you introduce yourself as Bijan? Your name is Bijan." I heard him telling the story the other day, and he's like, "I just like Bijan better."
His own mom's correcting him. That's hilarious. Nathan, what are you excited about, man?
Man, I'm excited about everything, and to Matt's point, we disagree about the whole Seattle backfield, and isn't that the beauty of fantasy sports and sports in general? Is that, like, I mean, if you think about it, a fantasy draft is nothing but proving to your best buddies that you know more than they do, that my opinion is right and yours is wrong, or the opinions that I read and followed, subscribed to are right and yours are wrong. And we get to carry that through all of our fantasy leagues, all of our gambling, all of our different side bets. And then, just right here on this pod, me and Matt don't really have a bet about the Seattle backfield, but he just won't shut up about it. And, you know,
I think
we're going to keep on talking about that all year long. It's going to be great.
Yes.
I think a bet is in the works here. We need to figure out something.
I don't love betting on Seattle players just in general, man. I don't like to be invested in that team, but
I don't want to hear any letters. I don't want any emails. I know my pronunciations of names throughout the beginning of the season is going to be tough. It's fine. It's the beginning of the season. We're all working in these new names. There's some of them are a little harder than others, like Njigba. I just learned that today. Njigba.
Yeah, he's this year's Travis Etienne, right?
Yeah, Travis Etienne. Exactly.
ET, call him ET.
Exactly. So no emails. I don't want to see anything. I'm gonna work on it. All right, guys, let's get into our news and notes, dude. There's a lot to talk about this week. The upcoming season. First off, little house cleaning, house service, whatever you want to call it, about our other leagues. We play in many leagues in this under the umbrella of the Ordinaree Degenerates. We got baseball, we got football. Some people are efforting other types of sports leagues. Nathan's held them at bay, but we're we'll see what we can get to eventually. But anyways, baseball. We just had our championship game, and Nate, you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so this is our 15th year doing our fantasy baseball league. We've had a little bit of turnover over the years, not quite as much consistency as we've had with the football league, but we've got a core group, 8 or 9 guys that have been playing every year. And
ladies.
Yeah, 2 years ago, we recruited Megan Hab, who is Bobby's wife, for all of you that don't know. And what's interesting about Megan joining the league is at the time that we recruited her, she openly admitted that she does not watch baseball and she knows nothing about it. But they were moving to Arkansas. In fact, it was at their going away party that we told her, "Come on, Megan, you should play baseball with us." And she was like, "I like playing fantasy sports. I like hanging out with you guys. Why not?" And in her second season in our fantasy baseball league, Megan Hab has taken down the championship. She is the new champion.
Wow. How does that make you feel, Nate? Aren't you like the leading like all-time baseball winner and stuff? How's that feel?
Yeah, I mean, I have 5 championships out of the 15 years, and so I feel fine about Megan. I actually was telling a few people, I'm warming up to the idea of we now have 2 wives who have won, because as you recall, Lisa won back in the day.
Yep.
And so we now have Megan and Lisa that have both won, and we have several guys, Matt included, and Alex and Joe and Bobby, Megan's husband, that have not won the championship or even been to the finals. So I'm going to keep holding that over their heads until they finally win one. But hey, congratulations, Megan. Well deserved. She 2 years in a row, she made the playoffs, by the way. She was in the playoffs both years.
That is a lot of words being spoken by somebody who didn't make the playoffs. And since I did make the playoffs, I would like to say that I'm proud and happy for Megan. She did great. But, as somebody who made the playoffs, I have a little different feel than you do this year. So, but we can move on.
And this was your, how many times have you made it?
We're talking about this year only. We've already talked about your 5 championships.
I'll stop being an Uncle Rico. All right.
All right, good.
Oh, man. Well, congratulations.
Hey, dude, it's like the only time you've never made it. I got to at least say it one time.
It was the first time I missed the playoffs in I don't know how many years.
Yeah.
It was horrible.
Oh man, that is interesting to hear, Nate, because usually you're on top of that. But,
and it's my first year ever making the playoffs.
That's a long season. It's a long season to stay in it in a fantasy sport. It's a long season that's why I got out of baseball. I couldn't hang with the amount of time. And once football starts, you guys are still doing baseball, and it's just like, how the hell can you think about 2 things at once? I don't get it.
Well, no, we changed the baseball rules years ago, and that's why Megan just won. We finished baseball the week before football starts, so that way there's a clear demarcation there. We don't play both at the same time.
No, but you're still all the planning up. You're doing baseball, and then you got to switch in your brain and start thinking about football. And then our football draft is always so early. You're having to do both. But I mean, yeah. So congratulations, Megan. That's awesome. I'm glad you kicked these little boys' butts and showed them what's up. That's awesome. All right, guys, let's get into what everybody's here for. Our injury news. Injury news coming to you live right now. Okay, so let's start out with our biggest injury. Well, one of the biggest injuries that's come out of this preseason and before the season started. Obviously, Cooper Kupp is probably the number 1 injury, but this is a big one. Travis Kelce, who's clearly the number 1 tight end in the league. And I'm sure everybody who drafted him in your league early is in the same position. They're all freaking out. trying to figure out what to do next. Hyperextended knee is the call on the injury. It's supposedly not that bad. Even his brother was just on a radio show today talking about how he had something on, and I probably just stepped on both of you guys. But anyways, go ahead. And Nathan, you want to talk a little bit about Travis Kelce?
Yeah, I mean, I would actually argue he's a bigger injury than Cooper Cup because it's harder to replace him. Cooper Cup, especially in a
Interesting.
14-man league, it's hard to replace Cooper Cup because there's not a lot of depth in the waiver wire. But there's literally no tight ends that you can pick up and get any kind of production from. So that is a pretty significant one. I will say they are saying right now that they don't know or they don't think it's a tear. We did a draft last night. Matt and I are both in the same league, and Joe was on the call with us, and we considered taking Kelce in the second round. He slipped all the way to the second, and I had just read some news right before the draft about Zach Ertz last year, and how Zach Ertz, at first they thought, oh, it's just swelling. He'll be fine in a couple of weeks. Once the swelling went down, they detected the tear, and he was out the rest of the year. So based off of that information alone, we opted not to draft Kelce. It might end up biting us in the butt if he's the same old Kelce. But, the risk in the second round when you don't know whether there's a tear there or not was too significant. We decided to pass on him. So I hope he does get
I
better.
wasn't on the call at that time because I was still doing another draft. But to expand on what you said, I mean, if Kelce is out and took him in the first or second, you're not going to recover from that.
No.
By not taking Kelce there, you can recover from any other move you make. So it's a no-brainer at that point to not take him, I think. And honestly, I don't think I'd be taking him in the third round either. I mean,
okay, let me ask
till
you
we
this.
know.
Well, okay,
we know.
if it is as serious as you're thinking it might be, then yes, then that's a problem. But if listening to his brother on the radio show this morning talking about, how it's just swelling, there's no tear, it could, so like if that's the case, I mean, swelling could go down in an hour, or it could take 2 weeks for swelling to go down. So I mean, there's a possibility that if it is just swelling and you don't draft him, right, and then he comes back and he's only misses one game, then you get 16 games of Kelce, and you just had to, you know what I mean? Like it's,
Yeah, the
I
guy
don't think it's as clear. I don't think it's as clear cut as, oh, you just don't draft him because he's hurt.
No, definitely
mean-
not clear cut. It's a tough decision. The guy that drafted him took actually Eckler in the first round and got Kelce in the second. If Kelce ends up being healthy, this guy might win the championship because
Yeah.
he now has 2 first rounders on his team.
Yeah.
But the risk that you have to weigh there is, okay, am I willing to take that risk, or will I grab a guy like a Devontae Adams, who we ended up taking, that is going to put up significant points as well. And so the risk to not taking him is far less than the risk to taking him. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
100%.
Before we move on to our next guy, though, Matt, you kind of already mentioned, or one of you guys mentioned, that there's really nobody else to replace Kelce. There's not another tight end out there to replace Kelce, but if you have to go in a different direction and you don't, and there's still somebody out there on the waiver wire, and there's a possibility of picking somebody up, say you're in a 10-man league and there's still some guys out there, is there somebody out there that you guys would look for to replace him with?
Well, in a 10-man league?
Yeah, are you guys going after, are you trying to go after Noah Gray?
A 10-man league, that's, well, okay. So since you brought up Noah Gray, so as soon as the injury happened, I was like, oh crap, man. I held Noah Gray for a year. I dropped him I don't know, in the last month off my dynasty team going, he'll never play. Nobody else picked him up. I was able to scramble and get him. So he's back on my team. It was weird. Nobody else put in a claim, I don't think. So I thought somebody would. And then in the main league, Steve went and threw a $20 bid for Noah Gray. I don't think that Noah Gray is a one-for-one replacement. I don't think anybody does. I think it'll be a bunch of receivers that pick up that work. So although I picked up Noah Gray because it's dynasty and my team sucks, I just need depth, I don't think there's any reason to pick him up in the main league. I don't think he's going to do anything for you.
Nathan, you got somebody else that we can go target?
It depends on what type of league you play in. You mentioned a 10-man league. If you play in a 10-man league, you should be able to go pick up a Laporta or a Kincaid. These are the kind of guys, a couple of rookies that should be on waivers. And I could go on and on. There's probably tons of tight ends.
Dulcich should still be there at 10.
Yeah, Dulcich in a 10-man league.
Troutman,
I play in a high stakes dynasty league where there is nothing on the waiver wire at all. And Kelce is one of the cornerstones of my team. And my backup tight end was The guy up in Seattle, not the starter.
Will Disley?
Disley, yeah. Disley's my only other tight
Big
end, so I went
Montana.
scrambling to the waiver wire, and I was able to get Smythe,
Yeah.
starting tight end for the Miami Dolphins for whatever reason was sitting on waivers.
Okay.
So I was able to grab him. I don't know. I mean, what's he going to get me 2-3 points a week? But it's better than the goose egg.
All right. Yeah, and to Matt's point, they're probably in Kansas City. They're probably going to be thrown into the receivers. Noah Gray probably won't be the main target now. I mean, like he is for Kelsey
No.
is. You know what I'm saying? So like I would look for, if you can get your hands on a Rashee Rice, or if you can get your hands on one of the other receivers. What's the other guy? I'm blanking on his name.
Sky Moore's there.
Sky Moore.
There's Tony. Now here's an idea. I saw a guy on Twitter say this yesterday or this morning, or on X. Sorry, X. They could put Clyde's Edwards-Helaire in the slot if they need to. If they need to, he's better in the slot. He's better with his hands and running out of the backfield. I don't know. I just heard somebody say it. It's kind of an interesting thought.
Yeah, and I'm personally praying to the fantasy gods that if Kelsey's out, they give all of his targets to my man Justin Ross. I know it's not a popular name. Not a lot of people know who Justin Ross is. No. I don't watch a lot of college football, but those of you that do, Justin Ross was dominant his freshman year at Clemson, was the best receiver in the country, dealt with some injuries, missed a couple of years, even missed all of his rookie season last year. But now he's healthy. Now he's like the number 5 wide receiver in Kansas City, but this guy has got all the physical tools. If somehow he gets involved, watch out.
He's the number 1 blocking wide receiver on that team. 100%.
Hey,
he blocks well. He should be on the Niners, man. He's a great wide receiver as a blocker.
Hey, Hines Ward made a career out of blocking. You know what I mean? Yeah. And he made a few catches too. All right, let's move it along to our number 2 big injury of the season, preseason. Cooper Kupp, hamstring, big hamstring issue, and being a 30-year-old receiver, that is never good. I know, Nathan, you feel strongly about this because you have him on your team, and he's probably on the block at the moment. But
yeah,
I know you could talk about it though. Talk about it.
On these very airwaves, I chastised Matt for taking Cooper Kupp in the first round of our guillotine draft, and we did a little couple minutes on it, and I told him it was too risky and he shouldn't have done it. He's 30 years old. It's soft tissue injuries. We went into the whole thing. I should have taken my own advice. I didn't go into our draft targeting Cooper Kupp. I don't know what happened. It was I blacked out or something. All of a sudden, yeah. I thought he was going to go for like 57 like he did last year. And when he was up for $50 and I said 51 and then I won him. I mean, that's really the whole thing that sunk my draft. If I didn't get a great moment. I could have taken, I don't know, a Garrett Wilson or so yeah, it's really disappointing. And I'm actually expecting Cooper Kupp to be out for a significant period. Yep. It's not just a regular hamstring injury. He's up in Minnesota meeting with specialists and getting PRP injections and trying to figure out what's causing it. They don't even know. They can't even figure out how to diagnose it. Sean McVay today said that there's a possibility he goes on IR, which means he'll be out for at least 4 weeks. It's a complete disaster. My season may be over before it even began.
Well, it's funny. I have more exposure to Cooper Kupp in my leagues this year than I ever have in my life. I have never drafted him before, the price or whatever. I just haven't. And I have him on like 3 teams. I have him in our side league. I have him. I hate it. And there's no good. Van Jefferson's not a good replacement. Puka Nuka's not a good replacement. Tutu Atwell. I mean, he's named after a little dancing dress, a tutu. It's not going to happen.
Tyler Higbee.
None of these guys.
The best replacement.
Well,
none of these guys are going to work.
Let me argue this. Tyler Higbee is going to be obviously going to be great for them this year, I think. Yeah. But Van Jefferson, dude, don't sleep on Van Jefferson. He was a top 5 score, or in the top 5% of scores last year.
What?
Top 5% of scorers? What's that mean?
What are you talking about?
Oh shoot, that's me. That's my drum. That's my dramatic piano. You like that, don't you?
That's ominous.
I don't know
what. Whenever you hear that music, it means that Ben is just throwing stats against the wall.
I heard something about him being in the top 5% of scores or something, or he was at the top
deep ball, maybe a deep ball.
Maybe
but
that's
not
what
even
it was.
Scoring, no.
That's what
is like fantasy points, like top 5% of deep ball passes. I don't remember exactly the stat, but I heard something about it recently, and it made me think again, maybe Van Jefferson is a guy this year that, could fill in nicely. I mean, he's not going to be Cooper Kupp, obviously.
His route tree is not good enough to fill in. He is a deep ball threat. I get it. He's skilled, but he's a deep ball guy. And if you have nobody underneath but Higbee, nothing's gonna be open deep. They're just gonna sit 2 high safeties, and he'll never be open. This team is a train wreck right now. I mean,
they're an absolute train wreck. And I think
problem.
I think the Rams and the Cardinals might be in a race for Caleb Williams right now. Right?
Yeah.
They're both racing towards the bottom at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
But if there's
honestly, the Texans will probably be there with them because their O line is decimated this year.
The Cardinals own the Texans pick though.
Okay, all right, but I'm just saying the Texans are going to be that bad this year too because their O line is gone.
We need producers because I know there's something about that stat I was right about.
Okay, let it go.
Maybe it'll come up with finish corrections later.
Yeah, I'll have to look it up. But and then also, I don't know. I think they're going to figure it out. I think Puka Nacua is better than you guys think he is.
No, I like Puka Nacua.
Yeah. I think he's going to make people go like, oh, okay.
If they're all healthy, he's 5th on the team. He's a 5th listed wide receiver.
He's not though. He's
No, he is on their depth chart. If everybody's healthy, he's number 5.
I understand what you're saying, but he was taking in. I was at camp all summer. He was taking with the number ones. He was taking all the slot stuff. You know what I mean? So like, I know he's listed as the number 5, but they're not going to use him as the number 5. I mean, they're not looking at him as the number 5. You know what I mean? So
why would they list him as 5 if they don't think he's 5? How does that help anything?
Because he's a rookie, and that's what they do with rookies on draft depth.
Yeah, all summer long. I agree. Okay, not a big deal. I just don't think by the time the season starts, as messed up as they are, they would list him where they think he actually is.
But. Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, let's move it along, guys. Jerry Jeudy also hamstring. He's questionable for Sunday. Matt, talk about Jeudy.
Yeah, bums me out, man. I got him. Got him in Dynasty. He should be the number 1, but it all depends on if Sean Payton can fix Russell Wilson, if he can hide his flaws like Pete Carroll did. So Jerry Jeudy, personally, I think he's easily the number 1 in that team. It's not for sure that he's out this week. So there's a chance he could play. I think he'd be, half of himself. So I hope they hold him out so he's healthier for the rest of the season. But I don't know. I think that the worry is that Mims will come in and be so good while Judy's out. It then could be a timeshare after that. He may lose some target share because of this injury, but we'll see.
As a Jeudy owner and somebody that invested heavily in him this year, I will say I hope he doesn't play this week.
Right.
It's a hamstring injury. So that kind of injury, it's too easy to re-injure yourself. Sit out a week, make sure you're right. I want to wait till he comes back 100% personally.
Yeah. Well, I mean, sit out a week could be, you might need to sit out 3 weeks. I mean, hamstrings are those things that they just linger and linger and linger and linger and linger. Didn't Kupp already try and come back and then he re-aggravated his hamstring?
Yeah.
I know they're not.
Judy's been out for 2 weeks already. Judy's been out for 2 weeks already. So
I think they should, err on the side of caution. You know what I mean?
And Judy's was a grade 2. It was a more significant injury than Kupp's. The fact that Kupp hasn't been able to rebound from his is what's even more concerning, as it was supposed to be minor.
Well, but his age takes into account. He's 30. I mean, his bones, his muscles don't heal the same way. And Jeudy got taken out on a cart, unlike Kupp. Kupp just walked off the field. So, you know what I mean?
Well, they take you out on a cart these days if you have to take a dump. So.
Exactly.
DK Metcalf can tell you all about that.
It's like soccer nowadays, dude. The cart is it's like soccer. These guys are just.
DK Metcalf got taken out on a cart last year, and then he came back, and the story was he just had to poop.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Well, he's just lazy. That's all.
Say that to his face. I dare you.
I'll say it to his face. I don't care.
You would not.
What's he gonna do?
Stomp you,
please. All right, let's move it on, guys. Since there's nobody. I mean, is there anybody out there you guys could go look for to replace Jerry Jeudy? Is there anybody you guys?
Mims. If Mims isn't picked up,
Mims. Okay, go for Mims. All right, let's move it on to Jackson Smith in Jigba.
JSN.
I said it right this time. JSN. Pete Carroll says he's playing. What do you guys think?
Go ahead, Nate. Start it up.
No, yeah, that's the news that just came out today. Is they said that he's playing. How involved he is, we don't know yet, and we don't know how involved he was going to be week 1. Anyways, he's a rookie, and they've got 2 capable receivers. But yeah, they're saying he's recovered. He had the wrist surgery, and he's ready to go. I fully expect, and this is my prediction from weeks ago. I fully expect him to take over and be the number one wide receiver to own in Seattle for fantasy purposes by the end of the year.
Well, yeah, they're saying.
Are you talking about going into next year drafting that way, or he'll have the value in the playoffs this year as the number one?
I'm saying that by the end of the season, we're going to be looking at him as the number one, whether that's for like the last 4 or 5 weeks or whether it's a longer period. I think by the end of the year, we're going to say to ourselves that he's clearly the wide receiver one in Seattle.
He outscored DJ Chark. He outscored, or not DJ Chark, DK Metcalf, and he outscores what's the other guy? The other
Tyler Lockett.
Tyler Lockett. Thank you.
Yeah.
Your favorite guy
Yeah.
4 weeks a season?
My favorite stat about JSN, which I sent to Matt a few weeks ago, we were talking about whether he was going to have a significant role. JSN, as a freshman, was playing on the same team, Ohio State, with Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
He was the freshman. They were both older than him, and he led them in targets, receptions, and touchdowns by a pretty significant margin. I mean, he was earning targets out there over 2 superstars. If he can beat out Olave and Garrett Wilson as a freshman, he can beat out DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about this kid. So I'm interested to see him play. We'll see how it goes. I mean, his injury's healed up. So, all right, let's move it on to our next guy, George Kittle, close to our hearts here on this podcast. He's got like some sort of abductor injury or inductor or abductor, some sort of abductor injury. And I'm not sure how serious it is. Matt, can you talk about that?
Actually, this is one that I'm actually not up to speed with. When did this come out?
He's been out of practice for about a week and a half now, and just today I saw that he's back on the practice field.
Okay,
so that's encouraging. They haven't announced whether he's playing this week or not, but I sure hope he is. I have him in a dynasty league where I also own Kittle. Where I also own Kelsey. So it'd be nice to put Kittle in there if Kelsey doesn't play. But listen, abductor injury is not anything to sneeze at. Part of Kittle's value is his blocking and pushing guys around out there. So we need him to be 100%.
Since we're on the Niners real quick, let's go target share. If everybody's healthy and everybody's playing, you give McCaffrey 25, Debo 20, Ayuk, Kittle 15. So, it doesn't add up, but something with everybody else. I'm just saying, CMC is going to get the biggest, right? 25%, right?
Who?
CMC, just because of the dump offs and all the. Yeah, you would think.
So Kittle and Ayuk can't get more than 15.
No, I think. Listen, Matt, you're much better at this the math side of fantasy sports than I am. I don't really track target share and those things like you do, but as a Niner fan, I can tell you if they're all healthy, I expect Ayuk to be the number one wide receiver. I expect Kittle to be mainly blocking for CMC and for Debo and for those guys. I think this will be the year that Ayuk blows up. I think Debo is going to have a good year, but not great. And I think Kittle's probably going to have a down year by his standards as a receiver.
That's what I was getting at, the Kittle shares. I feel the same way. And I feel the same way about Ayuk. He's the best receiver we have, no doubt about it.
Kittle's been that way for the last couple years. He had a resurgence at the end of last year, if I remember correctly, right? He had
11 touchdowns last year. That's where all his value was.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. But his amount of blocking is definitely skyrocketing.
So I think a big down year for him in fantasy. And he'll probably never have a big year in fantasy again.
That's a bold prediction.
It's not really. Look at his history. It's not that bold.
He's old too. He's getting up there.
Well, we'll see what happens with Ayuk's negotiations next year. Ayuk's going to be a free agent, and they just gave all their money to Bosa. So don't be surprised if Ayuk's out the door and you start to see Kittle get more involved in the passing game.
It's all about Ronnie Bell next year, buddy. Ronnie Bell.
All right, Jonathan Taylor, guys, out for 4 weeks, and this one's interesting because we know it's not an injury. It's listed as an injury, but like Matt was saying, it's his pocketbook hurts or whatever. How'd you put it? Is that how you put it?
Yeah, his pocketbook hurts.
Let's talk about that for a second, and let's talk about his possible backup plan.
Yeah, so Jonathan Taylor has demanded a trade. They were looking for a trade. It's funny because the owner comes out and says, running backs aren't worth anything. Nobody would miss this guy if he was out of the league tomorrow. But if you want him, you have to give us a first-round pick. So which is it, buddy? Are they worth nothing or are they worth first-round picks? Yeah. So they don't want to trade him. I guess they were involved in some negotiations with Miami, and they asked Miami to give him Jalen Waddle, as the rumor on the street. And so it's clearly they're not willing to trade him for what teams are valuing him at. And when the trade didn't come to fruition, they put him on the PUP. Kind of interesting. I believe there's rules out there that a player actually has to be injured to be on the PUP, so he has to have some level of injury. But there must be an agreement between both sides that he's going to remain on the PUP until they get a trade worked out, because otherwise his agent would come out and say he's not injured, take him off the PUP, right? So we're no matter what happens, whether they trade him or not, he's not playing for 4 weeks minimum. Jonathan Taylor won't be on any football field. So the question is, who's going to be the starter in Indy? And there's a couple of names. I mean, before Jonathan Taylor demanded a trade, Zach Moss was leading as the ball carrier until he broke his arm. They've also got a couple of other guys there. They got Evan Hull, right?
Yep.
And Deion Jackson.
Yep.
I don't think any of these guys is all that talented. But I think if Moss comes back and he's fully healthy, I think he'll get the lion's share of the carries.
Yeah, they're talking to Hunt. They're talking to Lenny, I think, Fournette, right? They talked to him last week. I don't think so. I think that Jonathan Taylor only plays one more game for the Colts because there's like, if he doesn't play the whole year, then it doesn't count as a contract year, and his contract would still be extended, so he wouldn't get the free agency. But then if he comes back like week 8, goes into the game and rolls his ankle and is out the rest of the year, that counts as a full year. So there's little gamesmanship, I think, that may be played as it gets farther down the road. Like I said, I don't think he's playing another down for him, except for in that sense, come on, fake an injury and get off so that you accrue your service time. But yeah, I think he's done there. I think he's absolutely done. And I don't know anybody that's going to trade for him during the season with that kind of price tag that he wants, because he's not going to take a 1-year contract anywhere. It's going to be trade for me and sign me for a big deal right now. He's not going to trust any ownership to give him that deal after the season. So I don't see it. He may be out the whole year.
So real quick, I know we didn't plan on this, but keep, trade, cut: Travis Kelce, Cooper Kupp, Jonathan Taylor. Fantasy. Keep, trade, cut.
You're keeping Kelce.
Keep Kelce
for sure. Trading Taylor, cutting Kupp.
Trading Taylor and cutting Kupp?
I mean, you're not going to
Kupp's
get any value.
I mean, Kupp's the oldest, and he's so injury prone that is he ever going to be the Kupp he was?
You wouldn't get any value for trading Kupp right now.
Yeah, you're not going to get anything for him.
I think that's right.
For fantasy or for real life?
Oh, I was thinking
fantasy.
I was thinking in real life. Sorry.
Yeah. In fantasy, there's probably Kupp still has more value at this point than Jonathan Taylor, right?
No.
In fantasy?
Well, it depends if he gets in this exact moment. Yes, because he's not playing. Yeah. Kupp's not playing because of injury, and he might possibly come back. Taylor is just not playing, so he doesn't have any value. There's no value there because he's not playing.
Who plays more games this year, Kupp or Taylor?
I'd say Kupp.
Yeah, me too.
I would say Kupp probably. Yeah. I mean, that's the weird thing about like guys like Jonathan Taylor, right? He's like what 2 years ago? Was it last year or 2 years ago? He was like the best running back in the league.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't know if there's been more injuries this year or if it just feels that way because they're all on my team. But all 3 of these guys were all first-round picks a month ago. I mean, they're all first-round picks in dynasty draft or in fantasy drafts a month ago. I can't remember a single time that before the season even started, we lost 3 first-round picks. That's crazy.
Yeah, I know. But I was trying to get the point I was trying to make is like these guys, Jonathan Taylor, like he's so good, right? And I know he wants to get paid, but at the same time, your shelf life is so short. So I mean, I guess I don't know. You don't want to play without getting paid, but like teams aren't going to want to work with you if you're a pain in the ass and you only have this much time left, and it's just a weird situation to be in as a football player to be at that spot. I don't know. It's just weird.
You got a small window to make your money. These guys do a lot besides football. So
yeah. Guess how old Jonathan Taylor was though, Ben? How old would you say?
25,
23, 24.
I think he's 23. Oh, he's 24.
I think he's 20. Yeah.
I think he just turned 24. I mean, this kid is young still. He's got a couple of years ahead of him.
Yep.
Yeah, he does, but it's so.
I mean,
quick.
he could if he gets to the right place, he could bust off 3 in a row number 1 years easily. He has that kind of talent. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, that was it for injuries. Unless you guys got any extra ones that I don't know about, I think that's pretty much it. Let's move it along. We had some Oh,
hey, one thing. While we're on injuries, would anybody stash Kyler Murray? I know it's a big question out there. He could be back in 4 to 6 weeks. He could be out the whole season.
I am stashing him. So
That was going to be my
Right.
answer. It depends on what kind of league you're in. If it's a dynasty league, of course, you stash him in a
Redraft.
dynasty.
Yeah.
Redraft.
In redraft, absolutely not. I drafted him again because I blacked out and was drunk. I dropped him as soon as we got home. I mean, literally the first thing I did when I got home, I was like, "What am I doing? Why do I have this guy?"
Oh, I wasn't trying to make you tell that story.
No, he's worthless. You want to hear about a Kyler Murray trade I just made though?
No. Yes.
I'm in a rebuilding team that has no chance of winning this year, and I'm trying to collect first round picks.
Mhm.
I just traded. You're going to hate this, Matt. I just traded Justin Fields for Kyler and a first.
Yeah, I do hate that. I mean, I don't hate it. There's value there. There's clearly value there.
I'm rebuilding, baby, and now I got an extra
yeah.
first round pick. So now I have 3 in this draft. I'm going to keep on trying to build them. But hey, you know what? Kyler Murray could be more valuable than Justin Fields next year if he comes back.
Kyler Murray could also be a backup next year.
Could be.
depending if Arizona,
It's in the outcomes, it's possible.
Sometimes you got to take big swings, baby.
If Arizona tanks the way that everybody else is,
what do you mean if they tank? Look at their quarterbacks, dude.
Well, I mean, when they
Dobbs, come on.
Well, they went out and traded for Dobbs.
Which, I know.
They could have just ran with Colt McCoy, but they went out and traded for Dobbs.
No, actually, okay. So I picked him up in one of my dynasty leagues. Tune, what's the guy's name? The quarterback for Arizona, Clayton Tune, I think is his name. Sounds like a little country singer. Supposedly, what I heard is if Anthony Richardson wasn't in the draft, we'd be talking about this guy's athleticism. Now, I haven't done enough research to know if he's that athletic, but they could have just ran with him.
Yeah. I thought Colt McCoy was going to get the run personally, but just because how he played last year for the Rams for the little bit of time that he played for them. So, all right, let's move along, guys. Last week we talked about teams and we graded the ranking of the teams, and then we graded the team names. And after last week's grading of team names, we got quickly a bunch of responses from people going, "What the hell? We didn't know you were grading our names. We would have changed our names. We would have." So, in that vein, I'm a professional podcaster here. In that vein, we had some
team names.
Yeah, 16 team names. So let's talk about them. Bobby, stacking bolts. I mean, it's not bad. I mean,
he took it from our analysis of his team.
Yeah. He's listening to the pod, and we were making fun of him for stacking all of his Chargers. So his team name is Stacking Bolts. Hey, listen, I'm just happy that he didn't spell stacking with 2 A's.
I didn't catch that.
Dude, he's going to change it now. Don't do that shit, man.
He is going to change it, 100%.
Totally going to change it.
Yeah, I think it's a good name. I'm happy with it.
It reminds me of Frankenstein for some reason. He's stacking bolts.
Yeah. Sean went with top heavy.
That was another reference to our podcast. We talked about how he had like 4 good players and nothing else, and so
okay.
Oh, nice. Heavy. I was curious about that. Thank you.
Yeah, so it makes sense. I'm making assumptions here. I haven't talked to Sean about this. But, I do like the picture that he used. Yeah. The picture he used is a big, like, muscle-bound guy that skipped leg day for the last 20 years. He's a little top heavy.
Yeah. All right. Ryan went with Shellfish Games. I'm probably going to need some explanation on that one because I don't get that one either.
Does he have like somebody on his team named Cook or Lobster or something weird? I mean, like what does he have?
He sent me a text, and I was drunk when I read it, so I don't remember exactly the context, but he said something about I changed my name and I'm sticking with the theme. But I have no idea what he was talking about. Half the time when Ryan texts me on like a Saturday night,
dude,
I have no idea what
does it have to do with the dolphin costume and you had the shell bikini top you could wear? Shellfish?
Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe that's a thing.
I don't know. We're gonna have to get Ryan.
Let us know, Ryan.
When he comes on the pod, we'll have him explain in the loser bowls or loser weeks.
Yeah, week 1 when he has the lowest score, we'll interview him and ask him.
Why can't he be the high score, dude? I thought you liked Ryan. What the fuck, dude?
I do like
Ryan.
Ryan.
I got your back, dude.
All right, Steve, extra super duper damn fun bitch.
So I can speak on this a little bit. I know where the fun bitch comes from. Yeah. And I think it might have been baseball, Matt. Is that right? You might remember this.
Yeah, I think I remember it happening. I don't remember the context.
Yeah, the guys were all complaining about rule changes and they're saying, why do you guys have to bitch so much? And Steve said, yeah, but I'm a fun bitch. Yeah. And then after that, I changed his name on my phone to the fun bitch, and it stayed like that for like a year. Every time he called me, it was fun bitch was calling. And so I don't know. Yeah. With Steve, one thing he's learned over the years is if you make fun of him about something, he leans into it.
Oh
right?
yeah. Oh yeah.
So he's definitely leaned into it. Now he's the ex of super duper fun bitch. So
I like it.
Super duper damn.
Yeah, that's
fun.
good. I like that one.
I love the damn in there. I don't know why, but it just sounds good.
Yeah.
That's a good one, Steve. All right, let's move it along to Josh with Buffalo Soldiers. I'm assuming that's another political reference or something. I don't know.
I don't know. I looked
I
up
thought
his
it was a Bob
team to
Marley
see if he
quote.
had like
Bob Marley. There you go.
I
Yeah.
looked it up to see if he had like Josh Allen or some Buffalo Bills, but he has like no Bills on his team at all.
Right.
So I have no idea.
Buffalo Soldier. I totally forgot about that song. Oh yeah.
Well, Josh, when he's on week 2, is the lowest score.
Lowest score week 2.
That one I can't argue with.
And then Nathan, you changed your name, which I thought is very well and very timely, and I liked it a lot. Wascally, I'll let you say it. You say it better than any of us. You say it better than anybody.
You know what's funny is Ryan took exception to my commentary about his team on the last podcast.
Yeah.
And I understand, Ben. I'm not sure if he actually did it or not, but from what he's telling me is he sent you a bunch of videos with rebuttals to me saying he has the worst team.
Dude.
The interpretation of my draft all wrong.
My phone
Completely wrong.
was
Let me explain why.
he didn't just send me one video of the rebuttals. He sent me like 30 individual texts of 30 different rebuttals or something like that. And then he said, just put them all together, make them work.
Dude, that's the stuff you got to share. I want to read that shit. I want to see it. I want to know what he said.
I will put it together at some point.
So
it's not time. I mean, it's timely only to this. It's not. It's not time sensitive. Is my point. It wasn't like question of the week or anything. So that's why I haven't put it together yet. But I will. I will put it together. But literally, it was like 30. My phone just kept going off and going on. And Debbie's like, "Who the hell?" I'm like, "It's fucking Ryan. He's drunk and he's just sending me nonsense." You know.
So what I'm hearing is we need like a pod text line, so it doesn't come straight to you.
I would love if we
Like a
could
voicemail
do
line?
like a Google phone number line where they could call
hell
drunk.
yeah.
It would just be all Ryan, just drunk the whole.
We get some funny ones, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so I was camping a couple of weeks ago. It was shortly after the pod had come out. I think the pod came out on Friday, and we were camping Saturday night.
Yeah,
I'm just getting blown up by Ryan, and he's just laying into me. And he's so mad. And I can't tell if he's just like trolling me or if he's like legitimately mad. But he was just so mad about how I called his team the worst and how the only thing worse than his team was his team name. And he's just going on and on and on. And then he goes, "I'll see you on the gridiron field, Wyvel." And he spells it with a W. And I thought it was a typo, so I was laughing at him, you know. And the next morning I woke up and I go, "Oh, because I can't say rivals."
That's fantastic.
So I woke up in the morning and changed my team name.
It's hilarious that you didn't get that. That is
I
so
didn't get
great.
it at first.
That's it's hilarious.
Wyvel. That is too
Well,
funny.
now I feel very left out, Ryan. I didn't get a fucking text from you. I didn't get 30 texts from you. None of this shit. So from now on, game on. You got the worst fucking team out there.
All right. Here we
The team
go.
name still sucks.
Yeah. It's even worse now.
Go for it, Ryan. Hit him up 30 times. All right. Let's oh, my light just went out. Damn it. We're taking
show us
too
your crotch
long.
again, though.
Is that what you call it?
Jeez, this is taking too long. My freaking light went out.
This little light of mine.
Hold on. I need to adjust.
Don't cut any of this shit out.
By the way, it doesn't
maybe
look any
now.
different, Ben. You look exactly the same.
Yeah.
What? That's
Yeah,
not
it doesn't
true.
look any different.
That is not true at all.
Right?
I like.
See, look how much better I look. You're such a liar. All right, let's move it on, guys, to transactions. This is it, guys. This is where all the magic happens. This is where you win and lose your season right here. Fuck the draft. That doesn't mean shit. This is where you win it in the transactions. And Nate, I know you've done mad transactions over the last like 20 years to get you all those championships. You're always trying to get that number one waiver wire pick at the end of the draft. You're always trying to get finished first. And how can you talk about that? Can you speak to that a little bit before we get into all the transactions? Speak to why you're always trying to get that first priority and why you feel it's so important.
Yeah, so we alluded to it on the podcast a couple weeks ago that the draft is a very small part of what makes you successful. In my estimation, it's probably less than 20%. You can come out of a bad draft and still win your league, but you have to stay on top of the waiver wire. You have to stay active in the trade negotiations. You have to always be scouring to see where are the opportunities where I can make my team better. And there's no better time to pick up free agents than that first week after the first games happen. Traditionally, after week one, there's usually 2 or 3 guys that blow up that nobody expected to blow up week one. And out of those 2 or 3, it seems like always at least one of them sticks. There's always one guy that sticks. And now, whether you get that guy or not, sometimes it's a little difficult to discern that after the week one and decide who to put your waiver claim in for. But there always seems to be somebody that comes out of nowhere week one and is super valuable. So that's one of the reasons I'm always prioritizing trying to get that number one waiver priority. I didn't get it this year. I have number 2. But we'll see. We'll see if Bobby can pick the right guy.
So who's in front of me? Just you and Adam?
No, Bobby has number 1 waiver priority, and I'm number 2.
Interesting. I know I'm 3. Yeah.
To me, I mean, yes, there's a clear advantage, obviously, but at the same time, goddamn, I'd feel the pressure, like you said, of making sure I pick the right guy, right? Because if you get 3 guys who flash in week one, and you choose wrong, and then you wasted that, you go all the way to 12, and then you got to sit there and hope
14.
that, or
actually,
14. You're right,
Ben. On that part, I know what you're saying. It's pretty much right, but so many people put in waiver claims after week one that you can use yours and still end up mid list. So don't be scared to use it, thinking that I'll never make it to the top of the list again. Because man, in this league, guys burn through the waiver wire so fast. I mean, Nate's held it for half a season. I've held it for half a season. I know Bobby's held it, but people churn it sometimes. Just go, go, go. So I never, unless I have the one, I never worry about it. I always burn it. Always burn it.
Having the one.
Well, one is that's what I was talking about. If you have 3, 4, 5, it doesn't matter. You can burn and turn and burn. But having the one, though, I've had the one and I've kept it for numerous weeks, and it's so stressful in my opinion.
Did you miss the guy you should have got?
I don't remember, to be honest.
I've held it too long. It's a long time ago, but I don't even remember the players. But I remember thinking, God, I should have used this a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
having the one is a double-edged sword because sometimes you'll every waiver wire period that comes up, you'll think to yourself, that guy's not worth it. That guy's not worth it. That guy's not worth it, and you'll miss out on good free agents. Yep. And that happens to me all the time. My best advice would be don't hold on to the one for longer than 2 or 3 weeks. Right? You should be churning and trying to pick up new guys as long as you have guys on your team that need to be replaced. Now, if there's nobody on your team that needs to be replaced, don't change them out just to change them out. But you should be constantly looking to improve your team. If you're holding on to the one for longer than 3 weeks, you're actually doing yourself a disservice because you're going to miss out on some key pickups.
Yeah, I would say you definitely, and 3 weeks may be right, but you absolutely have to use it before the bye week start. Because at that point, you're churning so much, there's no reason to hold it through the bye week. So by week 6, just use the waiver wire however you want, because there's no reason through bye weeks to try and hold the one. There's too much turnover.
There you go. It's good info, man. That's why I was actually wondering. I'm loving this, by the way, because I'm learning all kinds of stuff. All right, dynasty trades, guys. We had our first dynasty trade this year. Joe traded Isaiah Hodgins to Bobby for a first round pick. Wait, did I say that wrong?
Yeah, it was.
Sorry. Sorry. My bad. I was reading it wrong. He traded Isaiah Hodgins and Bobby's first round to Adam for Christian Watson. What do you guys think about that trade?
It's fine. I don't know if Hodgins is going to be the guy. They got a lot of young receivers there. It could be anybody. I mean, there's so many guys there. I think it's Jalen Hyatt personally.
Slayton.
I don't buy that. But yeah, and Christian Watson, what did he have? I looked at it the other day and I was shocked. I mean, he had like under 60 catches last year or something, right? I mean,
yeah, he was low a superstar in a very short burst. He had like a 4-week span where he had like 7 touchdowns, which was unheard of.
So where I am, I just don't know the value of either of the guys enough to where I'd throw a first round involved on either side. They both could go either way, I think.
Who's throwing the ball to Christian Watson this year?
Jordan Love.
Jordan Love, baby.
See, he doesn't have Aaron Rodgers anymore. So
but there's a lot of good buzz on Jordan Love that he's actually slinging the ball around. He's got a gunslinger mentality, and he's
I know. I've heard good things. I've heard good things about him. I'm just, he's still unproven.
When I first saw the trade, I thought immediately that whichever team got the first round pick won,
Yeah.
because Christian Watson didn't show out as much last year as I expected him to, and he's got a downgraded quarterback, right? But then somebody rightly pointed out that it's not just a first round pick; it's Bobby's first round pick, and Bobby won the championship 2 years in a row, and then was the one of the top teams again last year. Is expected to be a top team again this year, which means that first round pick is actually going to be at the very end. It'll be a 10, 11, 12. And Christian Watson just last year was drafted, I think, 6th or 7th. So if you look at it from that perspective, probably good value to get Christian Watson for a pick that's late, and you also get Isaiah Hodgins. I think it's probably a pretty good deal for him.
Yeah, I mean Watson, obviously he has the potential. We don't know about Hodgins yet. You know what I mean? We don't know how good he's going to be. So I don't know. I think Joe did okay.
I don't hate it from either side.
Yeah, Joe. I think
even.
Adam did okay too. I mean, I think it was fine. All right, Matt, you traded Alec Pierce to Joe for Rico Dowdle. It was our first main league trade, and it was the first time we've ever had a trade with this new trade system.
Mhm.
How'd that go for you? You had
Yes.
the trade. You got your guy. You got the trade through. The trade went through.
Trade went through.
But
Yep.
we should kind of maybe re-explain the new trade system for people out there who don't know.
Yeah, so I'll break it down.
Matt.
So because of a certain trade that won't be mentioned from last year that people think one person got taken advantage of, blah, 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 blah. We slapped the whole league with a little set of handcuffs this year, a little cute little pink furry set of handcuffs that said nobody can trade unless you tell everybody about it, and we all get to chime in and try and trade you a better trade. I think it's a really cute little slap on the wrist for the two guys who were in the trade last year. I think it'll be voted out next year. I just think it was a 1 year kind of, hey, let's make sure we have control of this league and we're not getting screwed by, Mountain Man and his buddy. But,
Mountain Man and his buddy. What a horrible 80s TV show.
But, all in all.
Special. Mountain, show us where his buddy touched you, Mountain Man.
Mountain Man and his buddy.
Yeah. So enough of that. But yeah, so the trade itself, Alec Pierce, Rico Dowdle. I had too many wide receivers. I still have 2 on my practice squad I'm probably going to bring up, so I had to drop a guy. I know Joe wanted him because he has Anthony Richardson, so he's their deep pass guy. I think he'll have 3, 4, maybe 5 games where he has 60, 70-yard touchdowns, and then he'll have a bunch of games where he has 2 catches for 20 yards, and it'll be unusable. So I was happy to give him up. I got back Rico Dowdle. I had to have a running back, and that's who he had on his team that he's willing to trade. So I'm not in love with Rico Dowdle. I know the Cowboys are because they've had him around for like 3 or 4 years, injuries, practice squads. They just will not quit this guy. So leads me to believe that they're going to use him a little bit because they've kept him around. Why would they? So yeah, it was more I had to get a wide receiver off my team, so I made the trade that was in front of me.
Yeah, I like your end of the trade. We've talked about it before. I don't think Pollard can hold up as a workhorse for a full season. So I'll be looking to get his backup in every league. And it was just announced a couple weeks ago that was going to be Rico Dowdle. So anywhere I can get him, I try and get him. And to get him for Alec Pierce, that's a pretty good deal. So I think you won that one.
Yeah, I think that was a good trade on you, Matt. Personally, Dowdle, I mean, I think he's going to get play. I definitely think he's going to get play this year. I know that Pollard, Dallas has always split their back time. You know what I mean? It's not like they just ran one back the whole time. Even when Zeke was there, they used Pollard a lot. So I think they'll do the same thing with Dowdle.
Considering they're going to run the ball more this year than they have in the past, how amazing is it that they were like a top ranked defense or offense last year, and they fired their offensive coordinator because the coach said, you basically scored too fast and my defense gets tired. So I'm going to fire you, bring in a coordinator who runs the ball and slows it down. That way my defense can rest more and they're not tired. Now, it's not the stupidest thing in the world, but you went from a super high-powered scoring offense going, nah, we don't want to score that many points anymore. Let's slow it down and run it more. So in that sense,
fantasy, yeah, as a fantasy owner, it pisses us off. But, the Cowboys, they weren't, whatever formula they were using wasn't working, right? Yeah. And so when they look around the league and they see, okay, who are the teams that are successful in the NFC? They see the Niners, they see the Eagles. These teams are grinding the clock, and that's why those defenses are so destructive, because they're healthy when they get onto the field. So, I mean, I can definitely see the philosophy behind that, and I think that was probably a pretty smart move on behalf of Jerry Jones over there.
I know it seems crazy on the fantasy side. You're right, but yeah, for real football, it's great.
Yeah.
For real football. All right, guys, let's move it along to Adam spent $1 a fab on Green Bay running back Emmanuel Wilson. Any relevance to this?
I didn't quite get that.
Had you heard of him before this?
I did not. No,
Me either.
I mean, they have 3 guys I have heard of, right? So they got 3 running backs I have heard of, which means Emmanuel Wilson must have been number 4, and I haven't even looked. I didn't check. Usually, most teams don't carry 4 running backs. Is he a fullback? I don't know. He must know something we don't. I know it's only $1, but in our main league, every dollar of fab you spend, you fall further down the waiver priority list. So Adam fell down the waiver priority list. He's now I think 4th from the bottom. To get Emmanuel Wilson, I didn't understand it. I'd be interested to hear Adam's perspective on that because I'm sure none of us are going to be able to give any answers.
Yeah, so Adam, if you can send Ben 30 texts about it, please, we'll cover it next week.
Individual texts.
1 letter per text. He must spell it out. Ben has to put them together.
And then cipher with it. Steve spent $20 a fab on Noah Gray. We already covered that a little bit. We all know why he did that. Kelsey's out, but
that is significant though, because I believe Steve had a pretty high draft slot coming out of the draft. If I'm not mistaken, he was like 4th. And here, he was 3rd. He actually had the 3rd waiver priority. So spending $20 on Noah Gray drops him all the way down to 14th. He went from 3rd to 14th. Maybe Steve doesn't care, but I don't know. I mean, would you rather have Noah Gray or would you rather have the number 3 waiver priority after week 1? Pretty interesting there. What do you think, Matt?
Well, did he have?
Well, he could have got him for 0. You see this stuff, Nate? Did anybody else put a bid in?
We can all see it actually.
I didn't look.
Yeah, nobody else put in a bid.
Yeah, so you could have got him for 0.
No, I'm sorry.
Terrible move, Steve.
You put in a bid, but it was a $0 bid. Yeah. So there was just you and Steve, and yours was 0, his was 20.
Yeah.
You also can't keep it. So what's the point of keeping it? You might as well spend it if you have it.
You get higher up the waiver priority.
Yeah.
If you spend, if everybody starts it in 1 through 14, they all have $20. Any dollar you spend drops you to the bottom.
Yeah.
Okay, great. But we just spent 10 minutes talking about you can't keep your waiver priority. You got to spend your waiver priority. Don't be scared to use it.
In the season.
No, what Matt's trying to say is Steve could have put 0 on Noah Gray, and he could have kept his 3rd waiver priority. The way that our waiver rules are set up is we first analyze, okay, who's got the most fab left after the fab period in preseason, okay, and we rank them. And then if there's a tie, then it's based on your finish at the draft, right?
So where was your pick, Matt? Where was your waiver pick?
3rd. So he would have
Steve's was 3rd. You would have.
I don't know exactly. Either way, he could have had him for $1 or less.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So,
well, enjoy Noah Gray, Steve. Yeah. We'll see how that works out for you. If you might be a genius. If Kelsey's out for longer and Noah Gray starts catching all those touchdowns, maybe you're a genius.
Maybe
$20 is worth it.
I bet that there's number 2 tight end behind. Is his name Bell? I think David Bell or something. He'll catch more He'll catch more touchdowns than Gray will.
David Bell's a receiver for the Cleveland.
I think there's a tight end Bell on their team.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cut that.
All right, guys. Well, last week we talked about our question of the week. And every week we're going to have a question of the week, and we're going to ask you guys to submit videos to answer the question of the week. And thanks, Bobby, for being our number 1 and only submission this week. And we're going to show that to you guys right here.
Well, if I'm going to end up with COVID a couple weeks after a draft party, it better have been the best damn draft party ever. Which it was, fool. So if I win, we are going back. Lake Elsinore, Launch Point, Vintage Village, baby. Book it.
Keep straight. Grab the wheel 2 hands.
They told you to go faster.
There you go.
Yeah.
They're all like, I got Velcro for Kim.
And we're back, guys. That was awesome. Thanks, Bobby.
Thanks, Bob.
Are you excited, guys, about going back to Launch Point if Bobby wins? Because I know I am. I loved it there. I loved that draft. Are you guys excited?
Well, I will say this. I won't pick Launch Point if I win. I'm going to pick something different. But normally I root pretty hard against Bobby in the playoffs. And just the fact that Bobby's already committed to putting the draft in my backyard at a place that I love going to anyways, maybe I'll root against him a little bit less. If it comes down to Bobby versus somebody that lives out of state, go Bobby.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine going back there. I'd like to try something new, though. Also, that's part of the cool experience with all the friends and families, just doing new stuff every year.
It was a damn good location, though. I mean, honestly, it was fine. It was great. I mean, we had a good time. I mean,
We did have a good time. Have you ever not had a good time in a draft? No matter if we're in Indio, at a casino, it doesn't matter. We always have a great time. So
that one time I fell and hurt myself wasn't great.
Oh, you fucked yourself up that time, dude.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you also fell at a draft one time, also. Or no,
that was a bachelor party. That was a
bachelor party. Yeah, no, that was yeah.
Yeah, we got issues, brother.
Matt, where are you taking us? Are you still thinking Chicago or what?
So yeah, I mean, I honestly would love to have you guys in Chicago. I would love to do a Cubs game, center field out. You know, the cheap seats out there. I just thought that'd be a great party for us. But you know, the thing is, we got a person in this league who doesn't like to travel that far. You know, so. You know, having everybody together is more important to me than the location. So, you know, like I said, I could have forced everybody, I guess, in 2019 when I wanted to come out here, but that was COVID year and I made it easy for everybody to go out there. So, I don't know. I'd kind of like to do it out here, but.
Hey, look, you know, stop sugarcoating stuff. I'm sorry. I don't travel well. But if you can go out to Chicago, man, I'd be there. I'd do that shit. I'd come stay with you. We drive out to Chicago, do our thing.
There's a lot of casinos out here, guys. I know that's our thing. I mean, we love casinos, so you know, lots of casinos out here.
Can I pull back the fourth wall or whatever that saying is? Podcast time is my kids' favorite time.
Okay,
they've come out 3 different times so far. Each time holding a different snack that I would normally say no to. And they know if they come out right now and ask for it, I'm going to be like, yes, whatever, take it.
Yep.
Oh, man, they're killing me right now. They're just getting everything they want.
So here's what you do. Before the next podcast, you get a little basket and you put, you know, here's all the treats you can have for the hour. Bam. Take whatever you want. Don't bother me.
It's been a while since you've had little kids, bro.
Yeah. Well, I have 2 kids home right now, but
goodness.
I go out there before we record and I say, I'll be recording. Leave me alone. Don't knock on the door. The answer is yes to any snack you want. And I come in here and I lock the door. So
see, that's how you do it.
That's a better way. I should go that route.
I think both of you need red lights outside your door. So when you're recording, you can flip the red light on. Everybody knows.
Yes to everything. Just yes to everything.
Here's the thing. Do they take advantage of it?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Are you joking? Frankie just walked out with a pudding. Like 15 minutes before that, he walked out with like cookies or something. I'm just like, I just keep going like that. I just keep going like this. Yeah, whatever you want. Nathan, where would you take us?
I haven't settled on an exact spot, but I do. One of the things that we learned at this last draft party is that my favorite part about where we stay is the community. And so if it's in a house and we all share a house together, great. We all hang out by the pool, right? What was special about this one is that we got everybody there. It wasn't limited to how many bedrooms you have. It wasn't limited to who's going to stay in this house or who can afford the Airbnb because it's expensive. This was relatively inexpensive for everybody. We were able to get everybody together. I think if I win the league again, which won't be this year because obviously my team is fucking hot garbage. If I win the league again, I'm going to try and find somewhere we can all go camping. And those of you that don't want to rent RVs, be prepared to tent. We'll pick a nice, climate that's not too hot. And we're going to have a nice camp draft.
Here's the thing. We just need something with water everywhere we go. We need a pool. We need somewhere to hang out. It's such a great community time. As long as there's a pool, a river, a lake, somewhere we can just be sitting there floating and talking, I'm good, man.
Yeah.
I'm good with any of that.
Camp draft sounds fun. Again, we just did it, but I mean, it sounds fun. Again, I think I'd be down for that. Somebody always says something about river rafting.
I've always wanted to do that.
Yeah,
that would be a fun trip. We all kind of tie a bunch of things together and just float down the river together in one big thing.
Okay, that's
drafting.
different than whitewater rafting. You're talking like inner tubes floating down a slow river.
Yeah, I mean, we're all slow.
I'm talking like real whitewater rafting during the day, draft at night with just paper and pencil, no electronics. You're out in the middle of the fucking place camping, something like that.
That sounds like fun. We
That'd
could
be
try
a
that
blast.
too.
Yeah.
But a long float down a river drafting sounds like a good time too.
How about a houseboat?
Love
a houseboat out on Lake Powell. Maybe
Well,
two
let's find a
houseboats
lake that has
to
more
accommodate
water, though.
everybody. No, they've got water now. We got some
Do they?
we got some
Okay.
water last
Right.
season, so
Right.
they're renting the houseboats again out there.
Dude, Debbie had a blast.
I'm down for that. That's how we grew up, me and Ben, going there.
Yeah, Debbie
every
had
summer.
a blast on the boat this time. My family, everybody had a blast, and so which is surprising because Debbie's not a boat person, but
She was that day.
She was loving it, man.
Yeah.
She had a good old time. All right, let's move it along, guys. We have some alternative leagues to talk about, guys. I know that's something big Matt's been wanting to get into, and so let's talk about it right now, guys. We have a high stakes league that you guys are all playing in, or a good amount of our friends are playing in together. How'd the draft go? First off, it's a $2,500 entry. I'm assuming you guys split it evenly. I don't know if somebody has more shares than others, but
I'll let Nate take this one because he ran the whole thing. Yeah.
How'd the draft go?
Yeah, the draft went, I thought, better than I could have anticipated. And Matt's right. I put the thing together. I was watching my kids do dance last week, and I was kind of scrolling through high stakes leagues, and I found one that I liked. $2,500 entry. I'm not that big of a baller. I didn't want to do all 25 by myself. I thought maybe I'd get like 2 or 3 guys to jump in. I was shocked. I texted out the group, and we had 7 guys that all wanted to be a part of it. Some have bigger investments than others. I'm in for $750. I think Matt, you're in for $250, right?
I got one share.
Yeah, so we've got guys that are in as small as 50, right? Adam's in for $50.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and we met last night. We had a little Zoom session during the draft. We were all talking about and coordinating how we wanted to do this, and to me, that's a lot of fun because we've spent all off season competing against each other in our own drafts and competing against each other and kind of keeping things close to the vest. But over the last week or so, since we decided to do this high stakes league, we've been in a separate thread, and we've been talking about which players we like and which strategies we like and how we're going to go into this draft and what mindset we're going to use. And it's a lot of fun talking to Joe and Adam and Matt and Steve, not so much.
You beat me to it.
About some of these strategies. God bless his heart. Steve has a lot of
we
opinions.
love you, Steve.
But I think the draft went really well. There was some tough competition. There was 2 guys in the league that we know of for sure. I mean, anytime you're playing in a high stakes league, $2,500, you're going to have tough competition. But one guy we know for sure is a professional podcaster. And in fact, him and a couple of other guys were live streaming the draft as it was happening. So on YouTube, you can actually watch a live stream of our draft. And they're talking about their strategy, competing against us. And then another guy is the all-time winningest player on this format, but I guess he's known in the industry of being a pretty successful player across all formats. But just on this one website, he's won $1.6 million.
Wow.
So 2 really competitive players. And I think we did better than both of them in this draft, in my opinion.
Oh, nice. Very cool.
One little caveat that I'm going to share. I know it's not Nate's favorite part of the draft, but just so everybody knows, this is $2,500, big money, professional players, us. There's all kinds of people in this. We had 6 guys at one time, all talking, all trying to decide who we wanted, all working towards the same goal of winning this league. And that's 100 years of probably fantasy experience between all of us playing together. We still misclicked the wrong person, drafted the wrong player. So guys, it happens. Just draft, get out there and do it. Mistakes happen, man. You never know what's going to happen. We had 6 minds working on this, and we still messed it up.
We came to a consensus.
Too many cooks, man.
We had all come to a consensus. All 4 of us that were on the call at the time had all agreed. Okay, Javonte Williams, it is. We're going to cook Javonte Williams. Click Cam Akers.
Who clicked it?
Me,
Nate.
Hey, you guys might not be upset about that Cam Akers pick.
May not.
By the way, that guy that has won $1.6 million, he had a misclick too, or it was an auto draft mistake. He took Mahomes in the 2nd round, and then he took Justin Herbert in the 4th round. And I was watching the live stream afterwards, and I guess they're friends with him, so they text him and they said, "Hey, what's happened?" And he told them, "Oh man, I'm multi-tabling 8 drafts at once, and I messed up."
Miss Click.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
That's
cue set.
That's your new nickname.
Hey,
right,
we
Nathan?
share our good stuff. We share our failures too.
Yeah.
Misstep.
Yep.
Miss Click.
Yep.
That's a new nickname. All right.
Yep.
Let's move it along to our guillotine, guys. First fab went out earlier today, actually. And 18 teams are on the waiver wire. It's very thin. That was one of Matt's comments earlier that I saw. He's like, dude, this waiver wire is so thin. It's gonna be hard to make up for injuries and whatnot. Any week one fab strategies?
There's no strategy in this waiver wire. I mean, there's nobody available.
No, there's
it's so
not.
thin. There's nothing to do.
Well, and we're feeling it the most, Matt, because you lost Cup and I lost
Yeah.
Judy.
Yeah.
And there's nobody on the waiver wire. But the waivers did clear today.
Mhm.
And it looks like not everybody was aware that they were going to be clearing today, preseason waivers, because I got 3 guys between my 2 teams, and then only one other player was taken. No other bids were put in.
I couldn't find anybody worth my money.
You know who I found? I mean, he's not going to be Judy, but Matt Collins. I mean, he's a starting wide receiver.
Oh, Matt Collins for the Raiders?
No, he was on the Raiders last year. He's in Atlanta this year.
Super
but
juiced. Super
that's
jacked.
right. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
That's right.
he was
That's
sitting
right.
out there.
This is
so I grabbed him
this is
for
a
a
guy who
buck.
came out this summer and said, "I don't like people who eat with utensils.
Yeah.
Right? I only like to eat with my hands." Like,
I like that. I like that guy. This is great.
yeah, he's a riot.
I also got Sean Tucker, which
Okay.
he's not going to be a
Yeah.
starter right away, but I thought, hey,
No,
for a buck, why not? So I got a couple of guys that
I went and looked just because Matt said it's so thin, and I was like, how thin can it really be? And I went and looked, and I was like, holy shit, there is nobody left. There is literally nobody left.
Yeah, my theory was, if I survive this week, there's better people to bid on than are on the waiver wire. So just
yes,
wait.
dude.
So,
That's the whole thing. Is
yeah.
I just kept thinking, like, I'm looking at my team. Yeah, my team's projected over 100 points, but barely over 100. And I'm just like, fuck, man. If I survive this week, hopefully I
Nate,
can
you're pretty far down the list too, aren't you? Score-wise projected?
Oh, yeah, projected score.
Yeah,
I'm 18 out of 18, one of my teams.
Oh,
And
you
the
are
other
last.
team-
Okay.
The other team's like 16 out of 18. So both of my teams are in tough shape. But, it's the great thing about guillotine is just survive. If you could just survive a couple of weeks, there's going to be players available, and you're going to be able to grab them. And yeah, I spent a buck on this guy for the waiver claim, Matt Collins, but I still have 999 more of those bucks. So,
Yep.
Dude, this is such a fun thing, and I'm remembering more as we get closer how fun it was last year. And I remember thinking last year being one of the last teams in it, like some of those waiver wire weeks or some of those like weeks where you get to go pick up, there was just anybody and everybody you wanted were out there. My team was just so stacked by the end of the year.
Jonathan Taylor was like the team killer last year. Everybody that got him lost. He was available over and over again, it seemed like.
I just remember how much fun it was. All right, friends and family leagues, Nate. You're the one pushing this a lot this year. You did one with your family, your girls. Talk about that. I mean, are you excited? Are they excited? Are they having fun? Are they? You sent us the cutest video the other day of them sitting there doing mock drafts.
Yeah.
so great, dude.
Listen, I never anticipated that they would be as excited as they are. They know me. I'm the football guy. We have a room in our house called the football room. Even during the off season, it's called the football room. It's like, hey, where'd you leave that toy? What's in the football room? So, I mean, listen, my kids know how into football I am. And I don't know, I just came up with the idea. I thought, hey, girls, would you want to play in a fantasy football league? And they were like, what? I was like, yeah, we'll do a little league. It'll be 4 of us. It'll be my 3 daughters and then my wife, and I'm going to play with the youngest daughter, right? And whoever wins or has the highest score that week gets to pick where we go to dinner that Friday night. Then whoever wins at the end of the year gets a $50 Target gift card. Well, they convinced me that it's not a Target gift card. They want a vacation, apparently. So their choice. We'll see how that works out.
Vacation?
Yeah.
Holy moly.
Nice.
A weekend trip within reason. But I'll tell you what, I would recommend that everybody do this. And you might say to yourself, well, my kids aren't into football. Well, either are mine. But ever since we did this, they're talking to me all the time. My daughter, a couple weeks ago, came into the room and she was like, Dad, did you hear about Jonathan Taylor? And I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. You have him. She's like, how long is he going to be out for? I mean, they're into it now. They're actually asking questions. They were making fun of Portia at dinner last night because she has Cooper Kupp. So they're like, you're going to lose. You have Cooper Kupp. In fact, one of my daughters sent the trade. She sent Jonathan Taylor for Cooper Kupp. They're sending trades out. I mean, and this is all unprompted by me. Yeah. Like all I did is just like push a button and it's taken on a life of its own. These girls are totally into it. So I would highly recommend that anybody out there play fantasy football with your kids. They will actually get into it. It's fun. They get to see what you do, right? And get into it.
So I wish I was better at my memory is better, but there's a guy, Adam Azer, one of those guys who we know from podcasts, who wrote a book last year, and it's all about how to get your kids into fantasy football. And supposedly it's done really well, really entertaining for kids, and it's just all about teaching them about fantasy football and getting them into it. It'd be pretty cool to give out Christmas presents to all the kids or something.
That's a better title than the actual working title, which was "How to Get My Daddy's Attention Again."
Hey, I'll tell you what.
Daddy's issues, the league. Daddy issues.
My girls are enjoying it. The season hasn't even started yet. Once the season starts, we'll see if they stay invested in it. But they've been talking about it nonstop. They bring it up to me before I bring it up to them. And they're even asking if they can do a kids league next year. They want to do a kids league with Penny and with Frankie and with everybody. And I said, yeah, absolutely. If this goes well, let's do a kids league next year. So that'll be fun.
That's fun, man. That'll be a good time. And then quickly, you're doing another sleeper league with just friends and family. That's another one you guys are doing. You got some outside people from the league, like our friend Anna's in it and stuff like that. I don't want to spend too much time on that. But
so let me break down one other league that I did real quick. So I joined one on Sleeper. It's a 10-man league, 2 quarterbacks, 2 DBs, 2 linebackers. 2 very defensive position. It's a weird league. It has super deep benches, all kinds of flex, and it's just a random league on Sleeper that I joined. We need 2 people to join. I got Bobby and Megan to join, so we're doing a little degenerate takeover. We're going to try and take down this league, kick everybody out, steal it, and bring it into our stuff. So we'll see what happens. Degenerate takeover.
Would you say you're in more fantasy leagues this year than you've ever been in before?
Yeah.
Me too.
I got up to I don't know. One time I was doing maybe 6 or 8 leagues, and I joined 6 or 8 just on fantasy, just on Sleeper this year. With Guillotine, I had 12 or 14 leagues this year, something like that. I mean, and I have over 50 best balls on DK, and
I am. Yeah. This is making me happy. What about you, Nate? How many are you in?
Fantasy leagues? I lost count, but I'm definitely in more this year than I usually am. Usually I'll do I'll do a handful of leagues, 3, 4. A couple of years ago, I started doing dynasty leagues, and I know I'm in 5 of those. Actually, I'm sorry, 6 dynasty leagues. So I've got my 6 dynasty leagues plus my other 3 main leagues. I think this year we've done 3 or 4 side leagues plus my best balls, and then now this high stakes league. So I'm pushing 15 plus leagues.
I'm glad all your guys' focus is so spread out. That's all I'm saying. Your focus is everywhere else except for the main league, which is where we're learning
more about more players by doing more leagues.
There's probably a correlation there. I think ever since the draft in our main league, when I realized that it went poorly for me, and then now that all my players are hurt, the season hasn't even started yet, and my 2 best players are both out. I think that actually inspired me to join more leagues because I was like, well, shit, I don't have my main league to pay attention to this year. Let me, I scratched that itch somehow. So I think that actually encouraged it.
You're okay. You're trying to make up for your mistakes. I see.
Well, we can cover all the rest of the leagues next week.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff you guys need to talk about. Best ball, all that stuff you guys can talk about in the upcoming weeks. So tune in for that, guys. We had our bold predictions for last week. We talked about already in the last week's episode. It's for this Thursday night game against the Chiefs Lions, right? Mm-hmm. Chiefs Lions. That's this game. My bold prediction, I'll just throw it out there first for this last week's game, was Rashee Rice is going to score 2 40-yard touchdowns in the first half. That was my bold prediction. And
we're recording on a Wednesday, and this is going to be airing on Friday, right? So by the time people watch this, they already know whether Rashee Rice, or I should say, they already know that he hasn't caught those 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, he caught 2, and he led the team in touchdowns and receptions. Yeah, but I know that.
We'll throw ours out there as just a reminder. Mine was that the Lions are going to win the game, and that the combined score would be over 100 points, which, who knows? Maybe
not so much with Kelsey out, but yeah. And mine was that there would be more touchdowns scored on defense than on offense.
Okay,
that would be shockingly bold.
Yeah,
it happened. But
all right, well, I guess by the time this airs, they're going to know whether we were right or wrong. So let's make bold predictions for this week.
This week's Monday night game, right? That's what we're doing. Monday night Jets versus Bills.
Jets versus Bills.
What was that, Matt?
Where's it at?
I don't know where it's at. Is it at I should have looked that up. Sorry.
I don't know either.
Jets
I didn't know
at-
either, but it's going to matter what I say because I haven't made my prediction yet. So
I'll look it up while Ben makes his prediction.
all right,
Wait. I gotta go first.
Yeah,
let's do it.
go for it.
Oh Jesus. All right, my prediction this week, my bold prediction this week is based upon the New York Jets' new starting quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, and my bold prediction is that Aaron Rodgers is going to leave this game with an injury within the first half, and they're going to take him out, and he's going to be out for numerous weeks. He's going to get hurt in the first half of the game. He's old. Hasn't been taking football seriously over the last few years. I feel like he's going to come into this game and he's going to get injured and be out. So that's my bold prediction.
Wow.
Okay. Matt, the game is in New York.
Okay. Thank you.
I'll make my bold prediction now, and actually, I'm glad I had a backup because my first bold prediction is going to be too similar to yours, Ben. My first bold prediction was going to be that Zach Wilson, the old quarterback, was going to throw a touchdown. Now, I wasn't going to predict an injury.
You were going to go garbage time, though, weren't you?
It could be garbage time.
Yeah,
it could be an injury.
yeah.
It could be, maybe it could be a gadget play, right?
Yeah.
But now that you're predicting an injury, I'll go with something different. I'm going to go with my bold prediction is going to be that the Cook brothers will combine for 3 touchdowns.
James and Dalvin
will combine for 3 touchdowns.
All right. That seems
doesn't seem
kind of likely.
Doesn't seem that bold, really. But
this seems kind of likely. But
all right.
I mean, they're the 2 starting running backs on the teams.
Are you saying the Zach Wilson one was more bold?
Yeah,
it does definitely more bold considering, but it's
not in the game.
Same vein. But we'll take it.
I mean, there's also Breece Hall. I mean, there's a lot of
there's chances that he might not get it. Matt, what's your bold prediction?
Yeah, so my bold prediction is that the returning rookie of the year is going to have
Garrett Wilson.
Huh?
Who's the returning rookie of the year? Was that
Garrett? Sauce and Wilson. We're both rookie.
Yeah, defensive player. Yeah.
Which one are you talking about?
He'll have 2 interceptions.
Okay. It must be talking about the defender because Gary Wilson's going to be doing some crazy shit out there.
Defensive player of the year, or defensive rookie of the year. Sorry. Yeah. Sauce Gardner will have 2 interceptions, return 1 for a touchdown.
Oh,
okay.
That I could see that happening. Actually, I mean, he played really well last year, and to take one back, it happens.
But to do it against Patrick Mahomes would be pretty bold. I mean, to have 2 opportunities would be pretty bold.
These are I was going to say these are all bold predictions. I would say Matt's is probably the boldest. I mean, I get it. Mine's not super bold, but an injury happening isn't super bold either, right? An injury could happen in any game, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, you're right. I mean, but it's just because it's Aaron Rodgers. It's the main thing. I mean, there's been so much hype about him, so much new team, for him to come out first game injured out of the game in the first half. That'd be pretty shocking.
Listen, I'm not afraid of wearing a Fu Manchu on next week's podcast, so bring it. Let's do it.
All right.
Sounds good.
The Foo. All right, guys, we're going to move on to our last segment here called Keep, Trade, Cut. We got a lot of, you got to make some tough decisions here right before the season, guys. Sometimes you got too many wide receivers, you got too many running backs, too many quarterbacks. You got to cut your team down to make that roster limit. So we're going to do Keep, Trade, Cut. I got 3 for Nate, 3 for Matt, 3 for Nate, 3 for Matt. We're going to go back and forth. We're going to switch it back and forth. So number 1 for Nate, let's go Michael Thomas.
Give them all 3.
Nico Collins. I was getting there. Just give me I was building up anticipation. Michael Thomas, Nico Collins, and Sky Moore. Keep, Trade, Cut.
So the hypothetical scenario here is that I have 3 wide receivers and I have to get rid of one of them, or I have to get rid of 2 of them, I guess. I have to cut one and trade one, right?
Yeah.
That's
it.
These 3 guys, God, the guy I want to keep would probably be Sky Moore, I guess, especially with the Kelsey injury. I think I'd want to hold on to him and see what value he can bring this year. The guy that I'm going to trade based off of name value alone is Michael Thomas and see if I can get, some sort of value out of a trade. And then I don't think he's cuttable, but if I'm faced with the decision, then Nico Collins would be my cut. I think Houston's offense is going to be pretty piss poor, and I'm not a believer in Nico Collins.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to do it. I like Sky Moore. Thomas has definitely still got that cachet, even though he hasn't done anything. But that name, you still hear Michael Thomas, you still get fear in your eyes.
That was my one comment is I don't think he has any trade value. So I don't know who you'd trade on that one personally.
Yeah.
But.
All right, Matt, for you, Kenny Gainwell, Jalen Warren, and Ty Chandler. Keep, trade, cut.
Keep, trade, cut. Kenny Gainwell could be the
Kenneth,
starting.
Kenneth, for if you want to be fancy.
Ken Gainwell.
Ken Gainwell. It sounds like
an accountant.
Gainwell.
Yeah.
Great name for a running back.
Yeah, I think because the opportunity is there in with Philly, I'm going to keep Gainwell. I'm going to cut Chandler. And I think Jalen Warren is the one with the most value trades if you find the guy who doesn't like Najee. So, yeah, that's the way I'm going to go.
All right, I can see that. Nathan, moving it on. James Conner, Miles Sanders, and David Montgomery. That's a tough one right there.
Yeah, that's really tough. And by the way, Matt, you made this tough on me, and Ben, you made this tough on me. David Montgomery, I really like a lot, and I think he could end up being the most valuable running back in Detroit this year, possibly.
Yeah.
But I'm going to cut David Montgomery because of his share of the backfield touches. Miles Sanders doesn't have any competition. James Conner doesn't have any competition. Matt, I know you don't like James Conner because Arizona's offense is going to be garbage this year, and I agree with you. But James Conner has got he's got some name value. He's been a top producer the last couple of years, so I would try and trade James Conner. I would keep Miles Sanders, and I would cut David Montgomery.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's fine. The James Conner thing, I think, is a great back. And what I said to you when we were texting last week about this, because they're such a train wreck, they may have to throw to him a lot more. And if his targets go up by 30 and his catches go up by 15 to 20, the value's right there. I just think they're going to be such a train wreck. He's not going to be able to run the second half of games. But,
yeah.
Oh, interesting to think of it that way. I know I wouldn't have thought of it that way because I figured they would be leaning on him more. Connors in the second half of games, like trying to run because they can't throw the ball.
You're going to have to score to catch up.
Yeah, I guess you're right. That's a good point. All right, Nate, for you, or Matt, for you, Odell Beckham, Rashad Bateman, and Zay Flowers.
You did me dirty on this one. dirty. Okay, so I think that they're basically valued backwards from how I value them. So I'm going to keep Zay Flowers. Some people say that he's actually the number one receiver out of the draft over JSN. So I'm going to Zay Flowers for sure. I am going to trade Rashad Bateman because he still has value because he's young, even though he's injury prone. So I guess that leaves cutting Odell.
Which doesn't seem like a strength. I mean, he's barely on a team, right? I mean, he's
if he plays half the games this year, I'd be surprised.
Yeah,
He gets hurt.
Well, there are injury concerns with Odell, but I mean, I think his contract is undeniable. They didn't pay him whatever they paid him.
18.5 or something like that.
18, yeah. They paid him something like $18 million a year. You don't pay a guy like that kind of money unless you're going to use him. So I think Odell Beckham is going to get some play this year. But yeah, there's always that injury concern.
Yeah. Guys, that's it, man. We're wrapping this up. But before we go, I want to hear thoughts from each of you real quick about this upcoming season. One thing that you're not excited about because we covered that at the beginning, but one thing you're looking forward to week 1, 2, 3 of your teams. Something that you're hoping is going to stand out, like a player that you're hoping is going to pop or something like that. Give me something like that at the beginning of the season that you're hoping for, that you drafted towards a goal or something that you were like hoping is going to really a stack or something like that. Give me something.
Mine I'll go first because mine are easy. I there's 4 people basically that I went all in on at our draft, hoping that they would plan out. One was the tight end. You all know Jake Ferguson, top 10 tight end every year in Dallas. I think he's going to be the guy. So I'm excited to show everybody that I was right on that one. And then the other 3 are my receivers. Is Jameson Williams, who's suspended. If he's the guy we think he was last year, could be huge. Quentin Johnston, also on my bench. I mean, that guy could be freaking huge. And Jalen Hyatt on my bench. Those young receivers I talked about earlier in the pod, I'm so excited because if those guys hit, my team's rocket ship to the moon because those guys have such upside.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean, if we're talking about our main league,
Yeah, sorry, our main league.
yeah, I woke up this morning and the first thoughts that I had were, God, I hope today's the day Bosa signs. I hope we hear good news on Cup, and I hope Judy plays this week. Well, Bosa signed. I think the news on Cup is probably bad, but Judy, there's a possibility. So I'm really looking forward to seeing him get back out there. I think if I can sustain with Judy and Amon-Ra St. Brown, I can keep myself afloat until Cup comes back. As far as the running backs are concerned, I'm really excited to see what this backup in Pittsburgh brings. There's a lot of hype about Jaylen Warren taking over
over
Najee Harris, and I'm going to be keeping a close eye on him. But the number one guy that I targeted, not just in our main league, but almost every draft that I did, including our high stakes draft this year, was Darren Waller. And the reason that I targeted Darren Waller was because, every year I always look to see who are the top tight ends, and it's typically a guy that plays on a team with no alpha receiver. And I looked in New York. There's no alpha receiver. Darren Waller's got the history. He's certainly capable. As long as he can stay healthy, I could actually see Darren Waller being the number one tight end this year. And so that's somebody I'm looking forward to.
I've actually been trying to get him from Megan in Dynasty since like April or whenever he got traded there. I mean, I've been trying all summer long.
Hey Ben, he's been one. I'm sorry.
Oh no, go ahead.
I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no! I was just gonna say, Darren Waller. He's been one of those guys who's been sneaky good his whole career, but he doesn't ever get like the. He's not like the Kelseys or the the Kills or the that name isn't as well known. I'm saying, like, you say Darren Waller, a lot of people are like, oh yeah, that guy's really good. You know what I mean? So like, I'm excited to see how he does again this year. And I think he was one of those guys that I wish I would have been able to get my hands on at the tight end position, but I didn't.
Yeah.
And then quickly, I'm excited for before you move on, Nate. I'm excited for Kirk Cousins and Jordan Addison this year on my team. I'm really hoping that pairing really pays off for me. So that's what I'm hoping for in the first couple of weeks, so that I can prove Matt wrong, because he says rookies on that team never do anything. I'm hoping Addison comes out. Yep. I'm hoping Addison comes out week 1, 2, and 3 and just fucking lights it up, because I know he's got the ability. And if Kirk Cousins can find him, you guys are going to be like, holy shit, this guy's good.
Our high stakes league hopes it's KJ Osborne.
Fuck KJ Osborne. Anyways,
I'll be honest, Ben. I'm starting him in 2 leagues, Addison. And last night in my last draft of the season, I was able to take Jefferson first and then stack him with Cousins and Addison. And I'm going to start
all 3, super stack.
Yep.
Anyways, Nate, what were you going to say? What did we forget?
Oh, we forgot one part, if I'm not mistaken, on your agenda, but it's okay. We actually can move this to the end of the agenda from now on, so it sticks in people's mind. The question of the week that we want them to respond to next week.
Oh, that's right. Sorry, I forgot that.
Yeah, no, and I'll actually give them the question, because I'm going to send out a text probably after this airs and remind everybody, guys, we need more video submissions. We only got one this week. We want you to participate. I mean, I know you guys all like looking at our pretty faces, but we want to see your guys' faces too. So please participate. Send us your videos. Show us your answer to the question. The question this week is, what are your plans for opening weekend? Where are you watching the games? Who are you watching with? What are you eating? Bonus points if you actually take the video of yourself watching the games and send that in. So on Sunday, when you're sitting down watching some football, snap yourself a video of yourself doing so, and talk to us. Tell us what's going on around you, and we'll put it on next week's pod.
And if you can do the trifecta of watching who you're with and eating at the same time in the video, that's even higher bonus points.
You just gave Ryan so many ideas.
I know. All right, guys. Well, hey, thanks for being here with us this week. This was so much fun. We're going to be here with you guys all season long. Every Friday, we're going to be dropping a new episode to help you guys get ready for the next week. So stay with us. We're going to be here for Matt, for Nathan. I'm Ben. This is the original. What the fuck is wrong with me?
It is original. It's very original.
It was original.
Yeah.
Ordinaree Fantasy Pod. Woo!
The original.
All right, guys. I don't know if you guys are as excited as I am. And I'm not talking about the football season started. I'm talking about spending my remaining days in Germany deciding whether I want to trade Deion Jackson for Wan'Dale Robinson. I don't even know if that's their names.
What's up, degenerates? As everyone knows, Nate and I have a wager that we do every week during during the season, a lifetime bet. And in this video, you can see there is 1 hammer, 2 hammers. That's what? 2x hammers? 2x? We're laying down the gauntlet in week 1. Consider this your 2x hammer. We're playing for double in week 1. Let's get this season started right.